Hello and welcome to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Maye live today on Thursday, August 29th, heading closer to the end of the week, just before next week when we'll have officially a football game during the duration of that week. So we're just counting down the days now until we're officially back into the regular season of the NFL. But in relation to that, we're going to talk some more official decisions that were made and also continuing on with our series of ranking the final standing predictions for each division. That will come later on in the show. But to start off, we're going to mention two quarterback decisions that were made. The Patriots and the Steelers both announced that Russell Wilson and Jacoby Brissett will be their starting quarterbacks, so we're going to get to those two decisions. What did Mike Tomlin, what did Maye have to say on why Russ and Jacoby were both selected? And in recent development with the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk, another thing happened recently on Wednesday that I feel could be a breaking point in all of this, so we're going to touch on that as well, plus a couple more segments on today's show. But before we get started, this show is always better, I believe, when you guys give your opinion, ask a question, or share any opinion that you have to say on any of the topics or anything I have to say. And what better way to do it than with our brand new Super Chat feature that is available to you guys now with this show. Just click the $ at the bottom of the chat box to send in your Super Chat. This is a great way to not only give a question, provide your opinion, or make a comment on anything I say or on any of the topics on any show, but it's also a great way to support our channel and to keep this sports content coming each and every day to you guys. So again, make sure to use the Super Chat feature. Just click the $ at the bottom of the chat box to send in your Super Chat. This makes it an absolute guarantee that I'm able to see your question. I'll share it on air, and that way it makes the show a little bit more interactive and a little bit more exciting as well. So go ahead, let us know what you're thinking, hit the Super Chat button, and let's keep this show as positive and as interactive as possible. But if you don't want to do that, and if you do prefer an alternative, you still have the option to use the tip and donations link, GSMCpodcast.net, with any question, comment, or opinion that you'd like to share as well. We couldn't do what we do without your guys' amazing support each and every day, and we're so thankful to have you guys as part of our community. But now we can start off with one of the big quarterback decisions that actually broke this morning. On my way home, I actually saw that the Patriots did name Jacoby Brissett their starting quarterback for the 2024 year. Maye said in his decision, he spoke with both Jacoby Brissett and Maye, both separately and together, about his decision. Then he revealed it to all players in a team meeting just before he had his press conference and revealed the official decision to the entire media, and that's when it all obviously went out to everybody. And in his statement to the media, he mentioned that they're 100% behind Jacoby Brissett, and also in a much more detailed explanation on how he came to his decision, Maye said, "There are a lot of factors that led to this choice. I think the hard part is thinking in the short term and the long term at the same time. As an organization, though, we feel like Jacoby gives us our best chance to win right now." And that's what you'd expect, right? That's what you'd expect any head coach to say. Similarly, later on in the show when we talk about Mike Tomlin, it's all about winning right now, right? And that usually means going with the more experienced, more savvy veteran that you feel a little bit more safe going with, at least to start the year, right? At least to get everything going, see what works, see what doesn't, sort of navigate through those murky waters if anything does happen to go wrong. You know, you rely on that veteran's experience, especially guys like Jacoby Brissett in this instance, because last week it was mentioned by Alex Van Pelt, the Patriots offensive coordinator, that one of the big reasons that he didn't say he was favoring Jacoby, but you can sort of tell by what he was saying that Jacoby's knowledge of that offense that both of them ran together with the Cleveland Browns just in 2022, that was a big sticking point with him, obviously, knowing the ins and outs of what Alex Van Pelt is trying to get out of this offense and knowing how to audible to different things, how does one play call, affect what a defense is doing, or how does the defensive lineup affect what you call at the line of scrimmage. All that sort of stuff comes with the numerous repetitions that Jacoby has ahead of Drake Maye, obviously being a rookie. So that's where I mentioned it to you guys in just these past episodes, right? Just going with the safer option just for right now, especially it's all relatable, right? It's all relative actually to each team. What the Patriots have to deal with in just this season is not the same as the Steelers and their quarterback decision. And with the Patriots, I just felt that it looks like you're going to be faced with a lot of obstacles, a lot of times being knocked down and having to get back up, and just learning a lot this season. So with that in mind, with this potentially being a bumpy ride, I feel like there's no real reason to throw out your rookie out there for a couple reasons that I will get to just a little bit. But I think overall, with Jacoby winning this job, it's not like a negative thing for Drake Maye. Obviously, he probably wanted to start, and he probably felt ready, or he felt that he improved a lot over the spring. But that's exactly where I'm going to, because I thought this was going to be a lot slower process. I didn't think we were going to look at Drake Maye and see what he was producing out there on the field until like halfway through the regular season, if that. But at that point, you wouldn't get a chance to see it obviously play out. You'd only hear about it in practice. But the fact that we got a chance to see it in the preseason, and not only that, but hearing about it as well throughout training camp, and how Drake slowly was gaining some more confidence. He was going out there and playing pretty well against, some joint practice opponents, or just the Patriots day in and day out defense as well. He was impressing a lot of people, so getting the chance to see that already at this early of a stage, I think is one of the better things to have developed already right now, because he pretty much closed that gap, a lot bigger gap, like I predicted, from the springtime where there might have been some miscues, some mistakes. He closed that gap pretty quickly by the time the last preseason came around, and everybody was pretty, I wouldn't say 50-50 on it, but they thought it was a lot closer, and they wouldn't have been surprised if Drake Maye ended up starting 2024 as the starter, obviously. And that's sort of where also you got the inclination of that could have happened because of Jerod Mayo's words, because it was pretty interesting when he said that after their third preseason game, I want to say, Jerod Mayo mentioned that Drake Maye actually outplayed Jacoby Brissett in this year's preseason. He said he played better than Jacoby, but that their quarterback competition was also pretty open. It wasn't like Mike Tomlin saying that Russell was in the pole position or something like that, or that Jacoby had a leg up just because he was the veteran. You could have thought that, but Jerod Mayo never really mentioned it like that or spoke about it like that, especially over the last few weeks. So the fact that he mentioned that this was an open decision, the fact that he said that Drake Maye just outwardly saying that he played better, you kind of had a feeling that, you don't know really what's going to happen. You wouldn't have been surprised if Jerod Mayo named Drake Maye the starting quarterback. But, in that same breath, you got that inclination, but also it didn't really feel like a quarterback competition also, because now looking at it in hindsight, right, you hear what Jerod Mayo's saying, this quarterback played better. It's an open competition. If that was to be the case, I felt like if this was a true competition, then Drake Maye would have ultimately ended up winning the job, much like the Denver Broncos, for example. Jarrett Stidham was their starter last year. Bo Nix comes in and he plays better, so he earns the starting job. And it's different here with the Patriots, obviously. I feel like it wasn't really an open competition, much like other people around the media sort of deemed the Steelers as saying it was an open competition, but not actually meaning it. It's sort of a similar thing with the Patriots in this instance, just because I feel like it was always going to be Jacoby. Not that that's the wrong decision. I actually think it is the right decision, because you have nothing to lose really, or really nothing to gain too much with just throwing Drake Maye out there. And that's the tricky part about it, right? Because I feel like Drake Maye will eventually play this year, but maneuvering when that point actually comes is going to be a very crucial thing to determine if you're Jerod Mayo, if you're Alex Van Pelt, and anybody making that decision. But now, with Jacoby being the starter, some things to look at to give you guys any indication of when maybe he could be pulled, or making sure he keeps up these things to keep that starting job over the course of 2024. Some things I'll be looking at would be just showing that command of that offense. Obviously, that was a big reason why he got that job, knowing what to do with this offense, knowing how to run it. So making sure to show that command is non-negotiable. Also limiting the turnovers, the protecting the football as well, and just making good decisions ultimately, because this is a young team. There's going to be mistakes, there's going to be some hiccups, but making sure that people don't look at you as the reason that you're losing, I think that's pretty much all you could ask for or from Jacoby Brissett. And then something else to keep in mind with the Patriots is that their offensive line has been a struggling point throughout preseason. So, giving up pressure, allowing pressure to come in with less than half a second each time, whichever quarterback was back there, that wasn't going to change. So with that being a questionable portion of your team, not to, say that you're okay with Jacoby taking those hits or anything like that, but again, you don't want your rookie quarterback going out there and then just getting killed or being rushed and then throwing interceptions and things like that. Jacoby, more so than not than Drake Maye, knows how to maneuver and knows how to navigate through those scenarios and try to limit the pressure as much as possible with changing the protection lineups or things like that. So that's another reason. Keeping track of that offensive line and hoping that it gets better will be a crucial point for the Patriots this year. But ultimately, it is Jacoby Brissett's job now. It is his job to lose. It always felt like it was that way once the announcement was made that he was going to sign there, once they drafted Drake Maye. I always felt it was going to be that, and now it's just a matter of when we see Drake Maye, not if, because again, I feel like he is going to play at some point this year. You don't draft a guy that high to just sit him on the bench all year. That's just me. But leave your guys' thoughts on when and if we will see Drake Maye. I really, really do believe we're going to see him, but we're just going to have to wait and see when. But ending on one quarterback decision and starting another one, the Steelers also named Russell Wilson their starting quarterback. We're going to talk about that, what went into the decision, and whether or not this was the right decision, obviously. So that is coming up after the break. You're listening to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast.